Thanks for staying with us now. Unfortunately, we all know the term school shootings, and our next guest has written a book all about the origins of that term.
Joining us now is author and crime historian Leigh Hunt. Good morning, Leigh.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. People are familiar with the phrase, of course, "I don't like Mondays," made famous by the Boomtown Rats song. But it has a very traumatic origin. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it goes back 47 years in my hometown of San Diego, California. A 16-year-old girl picked up a gun that she got for Christmas and shot across the road to an elementary school, shooting 8 children, killing the principal and custodian, and then landing a bullet in the neck of a police officer. And this was the first time, small town America, I guess San Diego's a massive city now, but back then it was quite a small town. Well, small city. And the phrase school shooting was coined because there's a shooting at a school, it's a school shooting. And since that time, it's become sort of phenomenon, and now it's within our consciousness.
Yeah.
But also the song wasn't popular in the States and became enormously popular around the world and kind of put America gun violence on the map, if that makes sense. I mean, it was known, but now for something just senseless shooting by teenagers having guns from their parents.
Yeah, this girl,
changed the world.
This girl was Brenda Spencer. Did you just say she was 16 and she got a gun for a Christmas present?
That's exactly right, and I know what Europe and people think of that. That isn't that strange in rural America. Brenda had a pellet gun from the time she was 11. She'd proven that she could take care of a weapon. And the parents believed that she had earned the right. She had done well in school. And this was a gift that made sense to them. And it isn't that uncommon in the United States.
And Leigh, we know I don't like Mondays. I want to shoot the whole place down. They're words that we all just sing along to, but it does have a meaning. So for Brenda Spencer, what happened on that day in January 29th, 1979? Was that it? She just...
Well, it's hard to conclude what she was thinking. I mean, I communicate with Brenda. I've done a lot of research for the book, and it's still kind of unclear what she was thinking. She was a disenchanted teenager, and she decided to just start shooting. It's a remarkable story how it happened. She was shooting out the window of her front door. She broke out some glass and was shooting across the road. And reporters caught wind of this. My father was the editor of the San Diego Evening Tribune at the time. I was a 10-year-old. And they just started calling around to houses in the area to try and get a story. And they called her house. And she answered the phone. And she stopped shooting children to speak to reporters. Her vanity took over. And in that conversation, the bravado was incredible. And she just said, when asked when she did it, she said, "I don't like Mondays. This livens the day." And that was the quote that now has become the soundtrack to school shootings.
Yeah, and that's how that phrase was born. I mean, Brenda Spencer, you said there, she's still in prison. You've spoken to her. How did you get in touch with her?
Well, the California penal institutions have this wonderful email system where you can just email any prisoner you like. It's quite a remarkable thing, and they write you back. And I sent her a photo of my cat. I knew that she liked animals. She wrote back and said, "Cute cat." We started chatting. I told her that, my connection to the story, how my father was an editor and my mother was a nurse and I was a 10-year-old. I was the same age as the victims. And I said, "Look, I'm interested in writing a story about what happened because nobody's captured this event. Well, I suppose other than Bob Geldof, who captured it quite accurately in a 3.5-minute song. Nobody's captured the actual details of what happened and the aftermath and maybe trying to look for a motive."
And did she tell...
She wasn't...
Sorry, did she tell you why she did it?
No. Unfortunately, Brenda's still unsure herself. She's claiming she was on drugs and she can't remember the event, but she has a very keen memory for every other detail surrounding it but that moment. So I note some deception, but does anybody know why they would do something so senseless?
We know that after the shooting in Tasmania, the mass shooting in Australia changed their gun laws almost immediately for assault rifles and hand weapons. The same thing has happened in New Zealand after the Christchurch shooting just a few years ago. But we hear friends of ours who have been in America have come home with their children because they're like, "I don't want my kids having to do drills in school about how to hide from an active shooter. And since 1979, this first event, it's actually not known how many school shootings there have been in America because it's become so universal there. But so far this year, there has been 21 school shootings. 21 school shootings. You've written this book, and Leigh, what's going to happen? They don't want to give up the guns.
Well, it's part of American consciousness. The right to bear arms. And, personally, I understand the Constitution. I accept that. And I think there's this point of understanding that's not going to change. And the way that America has decided over this 47 years since Brenda first took aim is to defend the children in the school from the guns rather than prevent the guns to the children. Yeah. And this has been the common activity, and I don't think it's going to change. But
they're not defending them. They're dying. They're dying. And listen, we can all be outraged when we hear something like this. Of course you are. But the popular vote, which Donald Trump keeps on going on about, seems to show that the American public do want, en masse, want to get rid of guns. They want to get rid of assault rifles. But there's a lobby group that prevents this from happening. So it feels like the will of the people is kind of being ignored.
Well, I would also say to that Kamala Harris campaigned on guns as well. She was pro-gun candidate. So this idea that one side and not the other I think that's inaccurate. I believe in the Second Amendment. As an American, I accept that. Why you need an AK-47 to walk down the high street, on the other hand, I don't understand. But a lot of school shootings happen with low caliber weapons, which is one that people will have by their bedside for protection. So it's a larger question than just saying get rid of the guns. I mean, we have gun violence in the streets here in the UK. I'm not suggesting that the guns are the same here. I'm not saying that. But the idea that we're just going to outlaw guns and school shootings will go away, I think is inaccurate. And I just don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime. I think America has accepted that on the main. And also to note, there's also a huge industry that makes billions of dollars on protecting children in schools.
Yeah.
And, not going into the weeds in the detail, but I don't see the risk of school shootings disappearing anytime soon in America.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Brenda Spencer, she's still in prison. Will she be released?
Well, she's had 8 parole hearings and she's changed her story with each one of them. I don't think so. And I don't think she wants to as well. And as a side note, her last parole hearing in February, more of the victims attended that one than any other of the previous. Okay. And I think that might be from the strength of my book. Yeah. I don't know.
The book is called I Don't Like Mondays, the true story behind America's first modern school shooting. Author Leigh Hunt, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.